Nintendo Entertainment System. Now you're playing with power.
TurboGrafx 16 from NEC, the higher energy video game system.
When you've got Sega Saturn, nothing else matters.
Sega!
Xbox Live. It's good to play together.
We would like to play.
Wow guys, it's been a crazy month. May was insane. I went to the Collectors Expo here in Toronto and I may have gone a little overboard, but basically I broke my own rule where I don't get more than 5 games new a month, but I feel like this is an exception due to a couple new purchases. I got a special new system, finally. A certain Uncharted game may or may not have come out in the month of May. But more importantly, I finally got a hold of one of these little puppies here. A PC Engine Core Graphics. And I got the second one because it comes with this little AV port there. So I'm very happy to finally start collecting a console that I've always wanted to. And this makes me really happy. So I hope everyone enjoys what they see over my variety of games that I have gotten in the month of May. Enjoy. So my first pickup of the month was Wonder Boy in Monsterland, which takes place 11 years after the events of the first game. So basically the game is a fire-breathing dragon called Mecha Dragon. Sure, it has nothing to do with Mecha Godzilla. Appeared, terrorized the land, and now you have to go kill him because everyone in the town is too weak to do anything. So you, based on your exploits in the first game, have now been called upon to defeat this dragon. So it's simple enough. It's an action platformer. It came out in 1987, so it's a fairly old game for sure. And as you can see, it's kind of dated. The platforming is also dated. It has those Super Mario Brothers kind of elements to it. But for the most part, the controls are very smooth, with the exception of the item button, which is you just press down on the D-pad. So you will find, as you play the game, you'll occasionally press down using a bomb or something that you didn't want to use. So that was my most frustrating aspect about the game. The game consists of 12 levels, and they're fairly linear. But one interesting aspect of the game, and I'm not sure why this is there's an hourglass, and when the hourglass runs out, you slowly start to lose life. Now, I don't know whether the dragon is cursing the land, and that's why, but you have to then beat the level fast enough in order to progress, and each level has a boss. And as you get closer to the end of the game, which I learned to find out was the item shops and the hospitals to restore your life and get various items are unmarked and may contain traps by the level's bosses. So it's almost like you gotta play through it a couple times so you know which doors to go in, which doors to not. Not really sure. I haven't played it multiple times, but I assume it's the same door each time, since, again, I'm also assuming the Master System wasn't equipped to handle that kind of randomness. Now, as much as the game seems a bit plain, I guess you could say, the boss battles are really fun. It kind of gives you incentive to play each level and to play it faster so you don't lose all your hearts. So, when all the hearts eventually turn black, when you get hit, the game will be over, and that's kind of unfortunate. So it really has that replayability value of the game, which I really enjoy. So if you're a fan of the Master System like I am, I think this entire series is a must-have. This title here is, I'm happy to say, my very first purchased TurboGrafx 16 or PC Engine title. It's Blazing Lasers, or in Japan known as Gunhead. Now it's a bit on the pricier end, but so it's about $80 running these days. The game came out in 1989, and an interesting fact, it was actually co-developed by Hudson Soft and Compile, which went on to make a bunch of Puyo Puyo games, among things. So the game is fantastic. It's a vertical scrolling shoot 'em up, or shooter, and if you're more familiar with horizontals, the vertical might be something new for you, as it was for me when I started getting into shooters. But it's a genre that I become obsessed with and want to get better at. It's just one of those things, much like fighting games. Well, in the case of Blazing Lasers, it consists of 9 areas, and at the end of each area is a boss fight, or maybe more than one boss, depending on what level it is. The difficulty of the game is kind of interesting. When you lose a life, the game continues at a previously crossed checkpoint, but you don't know where those checkpoints are, so you just kind of have to hope. So in the case of this first level here, even if you die at the end boss, you only start halfway through the level. And there's different points of that as you progress through the game. But what makes this game fantastic is the all-up-in-your-face action all the time. The power-ups are crazy cool. You get these purple orbs called gel capsules, I believe, and where to start with these? You get anything from homing missile shields, full fire, automatic type stuff, laser beams that go in all kinds of directions. It's absolutely nuts. But these power-ups are pinnacle in order to beat each stage or level. So depending on which boss you're facing, maybe some upgrades work better than others or are worse than others, but there is a constant bombardment of enemies. Since I'm not really a bullet hell kind of guy, I don't play many of those. This is as close as I'm probably going to get in my young shooter library that I have. But this game is fantastic. It's pure testosterone of a shooter at its finest. The graphics are amazing. It's probably one of the best games I will ever get on this system. So the fact that it's my first is quite amazing. So in short, Blazing Lasers is a must-have title for the system, and I think anyone who says otherwise is wrong. Well, the shooters continue with this pickup of Thunder Force 3 for the Sega Genesis. Now, compared to Blazing Lasers, I don't think it's as good as the TurboGrafx game that you just saw, but this is still a very good game. What makes this one good, to me, is the stage format is actually selective over your first 5 stages, or planets, as the game will have it. And once they're completed, you can then move on to 3 more stages. Now, I haven't been good enough at this game quite yet to even get past 3 of the 5 stages, and that's after a few hours of playing this. And even though I haven't played Thunder Force 2, it is to my understanding that the weapon system from that game remains the same in this one. So this new format kind of brings a new life into the sequel that we see here. It's a one-hit kill system like most shooters, and it is brutally hard. I actually have more of a tough time of this game made by Tecmosoft than Blazing Lasers. Blazing Lasers I was able to get past quite a few levels before finally giving up, but Thunder Force 3 is relentlessly hard. It is literally memorize the level and the enemies coming at you. It is tough. Now, some of the same weapon, if you're familiar with the Gradius games at all, you'll find a lot of similarities in this one, such as the options, which is a must-have in this game if you were to progress at all. The other aspect about Thunder Force 3 compared to, let's say, Blazing Lasers is the enemy design is so cool. It's even more sci-fi-esque and alien, you could say, than what we saw in Blazing Lasers, which was more just kind of ship battles. This one, I love the bosses more. They're really intense. It makes the environment set up really pulls it all together with that last boss fight. And I feel with the enemies taking up the whole screen at times, you just have this sense of destruction always going on with you, and that sense that you will die yourself at any given moment of the slightest mistake. And to pull a few words from the 90s as this game came out, this game is totally rad. That moment of just playing the game for the video here, when I would beat a boss, was so much more satisfying than what I have experienced in many other shooters to this day. Basically what I'm saying is, holy crap, Thunder Force 3 and the franchise is fantastic. I can't wait to play more of this game. I can't wait to possibly get one of the sequels to this game, because I hear it's even better. I hope they're not harder, because this game, Man, I have game over quite a bit, and I expect to much more. Hooray! Another TurboGrafx 16 or PC Engine game, and what better than Bonk's Adventure? Now in Japan, it's PC Genjin, which I'm not really a fan of the name. Bonk really sticks. Hence why it was kind of the face of the franchise, the system. It's a funny game. It's a platformer, one of my favorite genres of video games, and it's been ported. This game has been ported to a plethora of systems, basically everything. Now, this is a game with a ton of charm. It has that kind of charm which you like about Mario and Sonic, and even I'd put it more in the Kirby area, but obviously a much harder Kirby. You're a little caveman guy with an invincible forehead, you could say. You just bonk your forehead around, and you only have 3 hearts worth of health to start off, but you can restore them by collecting various fruits and vegetables and whatnot. Now, what makes this game funny are the power-ups using pieces of meat. So Bonk will eat them to make him stronger, and there are 3 stages. His normal self, as we experience the normal part of the game, and then there's a big meat and a small meat. The small meat will put Bonk into his level 2 power stage, you could say, and the level 3 will put him in, or the bigger meat will put him into a level 3. And it's only, though the effect wears off fairly quickly, but if you are in his 3rd stage and you eat another piece of meat, he goes into essentially star mode where he's invincible. So you can expect to go through some crazy moments like that. Then there are other crazy little quirks about the game, such as in order to climb walls, he bites it with his teeth because he's a caveman. He's very primal. At the end of each stage, you defeat a boss, which is actually quite satisfying. It's kind of tricky to get a hold of the controls at first, but when you do, the game gets a lot easier. Now, the story is kind of straightforward of the time. Bonk's mission is to rescue Princess Za from the plesiosaur-type reptile, I guess? I don't know. Bonk's in a dinosaur-type land, and you go through various dinosaur stages, such as volcanoes, or even inside a dinosaur at a time. And it's really quirky and odd, and it's super fun. The game has so much charm. It even has this weird smiley power-up system where at the end of each stage, once you defeat the boss, it tallies how much smileys you have, and it's kind of a congratulations, you did this kind of thing. So in short, Bonk's Adventure is really fun. It's a pinnacle of the entire system. He was the face of the TurboGrafx for a reason, and it's a must-have title for the system. Now here's a game I have wanted for a long time, and I finally got it. It's Parasite Eve for the PlayStation, and it came out in 1998, and it was developed and published by Square. We all know it as Square Enix, Squaresoft, etc. This is what you could call the pinnacle of when Square was on top. It was also the moment in time where there was this resurgence of Japanese horror, which consisted of like Silent Hill and Resident Evil. Well, this was more of the role-playing aspect of horror, and I mean, I grew up playing the second one when that came out in '99, and that was a lot of fun. So the fact that I can finally now play this game is really special to me. I've already played the crap out of this game for quite some time, and it has me hooked. You're in Manhattan, you're this cop, badass chick named Aya. There are these cool cutscenes. This opening scene where Carnegie Hall catches on fire is all intense. You get to experience this weird virus or something that's straight out of something like Resident Evil. The battle system is still kind of random, but that was kind of a product of its time. But what makes Parasite Eve so different is it's more a real-time combat system. So even though the encounters are random, you're still able to move around and use your gun as opposed to the magic that, say, the Final Fantasies of Square had. There's even a new Game Plus option mode called EX Game, or Extra Game, I guess. Once you complete it, and that then has all your items stored in the police station when the game begins, and you get the final weapon, the armor, and you can just blast through the game, essentially. That's a really cool thing. I've actually had a friend show me that before. Well, basically, the game, you kind of go over New York on Christmas Eve in '97 when you're at Carnegie Hall during this opera going on, and just shit gets crazy. It's such a cool story. You go all around special areas of New York, such as the Museum of Natural History, St. Francis Hospital. It's all really cool, especially if you've been to New York before, and I was just there for the first time this year, so this game really got me interested. But enough about all the small things. I mean, when I was first playing this game just this past month, this scene alone just struck a chord with me. I was like, holy shit, what is happening? And then I got to experience the battle system, which is what I said, that real-time aspect. You got to position yourself behind enemies. It's all really cool, really well done. I can see why this game is so popular even to this day. I can't recommend this game enough. If you like RPGs and horror, get Parasite Eve. So here it is. A GameCube game with Sonic on it. So it's kind of weird for me to play a Sonic game on Nintendo, but I guess the day had to come sooner or later. Well, here's Sonic Gems Collection, of all things. Now, the whole reason why I have this game is I've always wanted to play Sonic CD, and as a big Sonic fan, I hear that's the best game. Well, I can honestly say Sonic CD is really good. It's still not my favorite Sonic game, but holy crap. Now, Sonic Gems Collection also comes with a few other Sonic games, and they're all kind of weird. You got the Sonic Game Gear games, which are all right. You got, you know, Sonic 2, you got a Pinball, Sonic Drift 2, Tails games. For some reason, Sonic R and Sonic the Fighters, which is an arcade fighting game, is on here, but enough about that. This game is basically Sonic CD, which is the whole reason why people want this title even to this day. Okay, so Sonic CD is really good. I do enjoy it. It has the speed, the music's cool, it has that Sonic feel. The GameCube controller is kind of odd. I'm still not quite used to it since my GameCube's kind of new, but hey, it all ends up working out quite smooth in the end. The Eggman's still here, the boss battles are cool, you get Mecha Sonic, so to say, you're fighting against him. It's, at its heart, a Sonic game. It's good. But there's still something odd about Sonic CD that I still can't quite wrap my head around. The game utilizes time travel to save Amy, who's, I guess, Sonic's love interest, and a planet from Metal Sonic, Mecha Sonic, whatever you want to call him. And it's really odd because it's such a key aspect to the story and gameplay, and it affects nearly every stage at some point of another. So you find yourself oddly playing same parts of levels, just slightly different, with slightly different layouts, slightly different music. I still don't know how I feel about it, but the game itself is still good, since you have to deal with past, present, and then two different futures, a good and a bad future. Well, anyways, putting the strange plot aside, Sonic is Sonic, the music's cool, it's worth a grab. Well, speaking of a variety of genres and systems, the latest pickup was King of Fighters Dream Match 99 on the Dreamcast. So this game was developed and published by SNK, much like many fighters, and this is a port of a Neo Geo game in the arcade. So you can expect this, A, to be hard and take your quarters, but since this is a console game, I don't have to invest a ton of money in it. I just bought the game. But what's really fun about this game is all the regular characters from the previous game return, and you even see some old characters make some appearances in this game, such as a few characters from King of Fighters 94, 95, 96. So you get that kind of nostalgic feel if you're into the King of Fighters franchise, like I am. So this game was really cool. A lot of the original movesets was still popular between all the characters, so that's a really important note for returners or returnees to this fighting franchise. The boss battles are pretty cheap. But this game's known to be hard, and the franchise is known to be hard. But what's really cool about this is if you have a Neo Geo Pocket Color, and you have the fighting game on that, you can actually, via link cable, hook up to it, and various things are unlocked, which I have. So I can't wait to actually plug that in and try it out when given the chance to see what it does. But more importantly, the boob physics are back with the characters, the anime style is still there, which is a big plus for me. Basically, the King of Fighters franchise hits a huge plus with this game, and I can't recommend it enough for people of fighting, love, get the dream match. Well, continuing with Neo Geo ports, I am very happy to say that I have finally found Metal Slug Anthology, and I got it for the Wii. Titles included in this are Metal Slug 1 through 6 and Metal Slug X, and 1 through 5 are emulations of the Neo Geo AES versions, while Metal Slug 6 is actually an arcade port. What's interesting is, well, what's good is you can actually play this with a GameCube controller. You don't have to play it with the Wii controller, so that's a big bonus. But what's weird is you can't use the slide ability that you could use in Metal Slug 4, 5, and 6. So that's kind of odd, but what's great is seeing this franchise in not the standard 240p we used to see in the arcades, but in the 480. Now, some may think today 480 isn't a big deal, but holy crap. The colors, the gameplay, it's fantastic seeing it outside of an arcade for once. I love the Metal Slug franchise, and anybody who has played this loves it too. And this is actually kind of a hard game to find. I've been looking for this game for over 2 years, and had a friend actually say, go to this one video game store, and holy crap, I'm glad I did, because I found this game, and I hopped on it quick. SNK hit a gem with this franchise, with the sense of humor of the prisoners you're freeing, and they kind of take off their pants and give you an upgrade. The fluid, hand-drawn animation is to die for, and it's got that sort of anime kind of style as well, since it's all Japan. So again, big bonus for me. But the difficulty of this franchise takes some getting used to. It's one-hit death, so that may deter somebody. But it is possible to one credit clear this game. I can honestly say, at least for Metal Slug 1 and 3, I can one credit clear the game. It is possible. Basically, you just constantly shoot, throw your bombs, and get your awesome gun upgrades from like a flamethrower to heat-seeking missiles. It just goes crazy. My favorite aspect of the game are the boss battles. At the end of each course is this crazy tank or just something that takes up the whole screen, and you just kind of run for your life, avoid everything, and hope you have the balls to beat this thing at the end. It's really cool. The stories are always kind of odd throughout the Metal Slug games, ranging from government coup d'etats to alien invasions, so it's all over the place. But that's what's to love about the franchise. You never really experience the same game twice, but the gameplay is still the same, if that makes any sense. So what more do I have to say other than, if you have a system that has Metal Slug available on it, you must have a Metal Slug on your system. Well, hey guys, it happened. I got a PS4, and I got the special edition Uncharted 4, and of course it came with Uncharted 4. And where do I even start with this game? Well, first of all, I've already beaten it at the time of making this video. I did not record this through my own. I used a fellow YouTuber's video, so his description will be in the link below. But anyways, if you want to play a game that's basically a movie, has some good shooting, and newly put stealth elements into it, I recommend Uncharted 4. It's probably the running for Game of the Year. Everyone's all up in arms about it, and there's good reason. The acting is fantastic, if you can even say that about the game, but that's kind of where it is now. Instantly, you're thrown into a situation on a boat, and people are shooting at you, and it is the game's version of a tutorial, and the game mechanics are relatively the same from all previous games in the franchise. The story's at its best, it's at its pinnacle. You will be engrossed. One thing that's reminiscent of Uncharted 2 is, I can honestly say, you can have the same experience watching someone play this game as you are playing this game. You get some backstory over Nathan Drake, although it kind of conflicts with a couple things that happened in Uncharted 3, but that's besides the point. Just kind of ignore it. There's new elements brought into the game, such as a grappling hook kind of thing, and that's really cool. The jumping mechanics and the climbing mechanics do get a little repetitive as you play the game, but don't let that deter you. The story is why you play this, and it's why you love Uncharted. There is a chapter there which the story just comes to a screeching halt, but I would say the game is well worth it. It's a must-play. If you have a PS4, go out and get this game now. It has to be in your library. Once you play those first few chapters and finally get to this intro screen, I seriously doubt you will be able to put the controller down until you get to the next cutscene, continue that story, and finally beat it for that extremely satisfying end. So yeah, getting these two guys here alone caused me to waste a lot of time in front of the TV this month, but that's okay, it was well worth it. Playing Bonk's Adventure and Blazing Lasers was a ton of fun. I couldn't recommend those two games enough. Uncharted 4 got me to really reminisce about what was so great about Uncharted 2. It's already been beaten, but more importantly actually was my purchase of Parasite Eve. It brought back so many nostalgia memories of when I first got my PlayStation when I was a little kid, and getting that game finally and playing it, I just could not put it down. The story, the survival horror, RPG elements, there's a reason why Square is one of my favorite companies making games even to this day. So I hope you guys really enjoyed that. Yes, SNK is another one of my favorite ones. I really wish I could invest in a Neo Geo and play those games, but there are just so many other ways to get those games. Basically, the PS4 is now numero uno system right now, and the PC Engine's going to be so much fun to finally play a lot of those games. I'm really looking forward to it. And I hope you all enjoyed this latest pickups video.